Okay, so today I'm going to do a little response to some cringy comments that Noam Chomsky made on animal rights. But first, you guys have got to check out the Discord, okay? This place is absolutely awesome. You can come in here. There's a debate happening right now. That's what all these people are listening to. Here, we can tune in for a second.
On that.
Why would it be? It was a necessity. That's what I'm saying. Sure. It was a necessity back in the day.
I can grant that. Why would that change now?
Well, what I'm saying is why that changes now.
Right, so there's a whole range of debates in there. Some of them are high level, some of them are low level. Very interesting, though. Whole range of topics. And thanks to our awesome developer, Nathan, we now have the logic bot. So check this out, okay? You can do a whole bunch of things with this. So one of the coolest features is the bot can check arguments in propositional logic. We're going to teach it more systems of formal logic soon enough, but for now it knows propositional logic. So you can put in an argument. So just say check deductive validity, and then you can put in whatever you want. So let's do like an invalid argument, just so you can see how nicely it'll show the invalid row. Okay, P implies Q, Q, therefore P. And so we'll put that in. It'll process, it'll tell you the argument's deductively invalid, and it'll generate a truth table. So we can open that up. Now I'll have to go over to the web browser to open that up. So just let me do that. And then here you have it, right? It's just gorgeous. So I'm very, very happy about that. And the bot is actually so good now that you can learn propositional logic just by talking to the bot. So you can see all the logic commands by just putting in logic, right? It'll show you whatever you need to know there. If you put in the command truth tables, it tells you how to generate truth tables and how to read them. And then if you put in the command propositional logic quiz, it'll actually generate a quiz for you. It tells you 30 questions, 7 minutes per question. If you get over 90, you actually get a role in the Discord. So people who've done this, like you got Bryn over here, he'll actually have the propositional logic role, which shows that he was able to score over 90. And there's something like 82 billion unique quizzes that the thing can generate. So yeah, I just say start, and then it'll ask you questions. How many columns does this argument's truth table have? So it's gonna be 3. Does this argument beg the question? No. And I'm not going to do the whole thing now, so I'll just say stop. But yeah, you can basically just do that. Then afterwards, you can hit the review button, which will show you all of your questions, what your answer was and what the correct answer was. And you can look at the ones you got wrong. You can generate truth tables for them, see where you made your error, then try the quiz again until you can get over 90%, at which point it's pretty safe to say that you understand how propositional logic works. And yeah, you'll get the role at that point. So yeah, then what else? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Foot Sophist. So obviously the situation there is I made 3 main criticisms of his cringeworthy video. So the 3 things that he said, right, the major ones. He said that the argument is unsound, and that's because the first premise breaks the law of identity. Now, he couldn't give any kind of convincing proof for this. He claimed that the argument says that one object retains its identity throughout trait modification. Therefore, at various points, you've got different objects with the same identity. That's false. It's never said anywhere in the argument that the object retains its identity throughout trait equalization. And then he claimed also, while trying to prove that the argument violates the law of identity, that after trait equalization, you've got 2 objects with one identity. But of course, this is also false because the argument makes no statement about how many objects you have once traits are equalized. And that's intentional to avoid even interacting with Leibniz law. Leibniz? I don't know how you pronounce that. So no, the argument doesn't say that one object retains its identity throughout the trait equalization process, and no, it doesn't make a statement that there's 2 objects with one identity after trait equalization. So those are both false, and I'm currently waiting for Foot Sophist to either provide a deductive argument proving that name the trait violates the law of identity, or to concede that point. The other 2 points were that the argument name the trait can't process multiple traits. That's false. He, of course, has conceded this, although he tried to hedge it a bunch, but he conceded the point. So thank you for acknowledging that I'm right yet again. And he also claimed that the argument appeals to popularity. He also conceded this, although, again, of course, he tries to hedge it because he's a very dishonest person. You have to understand that about Foot Soldier. So he has conceded two of the points, the one about the appeal to popularity and the one about processing multiple traits. Now, with respect to the first point, which is about the argument being unsound, I'm waiting for him to either show deductive proof that the argument violates the law of identity or to concede the third point. So we'll see if anything comes of that, but he's a massive sophist, so who knows. All right, now let's go over to this video of Noam Chomsky cringing out on animal rights and do a little review ski. All right, full screen. Here we go.
I am perturbed by two questions of moral philosophy. The first one is concerning Peter Singer. Is he right on animal rights? And my second question is on inequities at birth. We can't redistribute IQ, height, good looks, talent. We can redistribute wealth and income. Does this have any moral significance at all? Thank you.
Just out of this. Well, just out of curiosity, do you kill insects like mosquitoes when they're bothering you? Or do you think that when mosquitoes are carrying malaria, we ought to develop means to kill them off?
Right. So immediate silly step into, well, I don't think it's a gray area, but maybe some people will try to argue it's a gray area, about killing mosquitoes carrying malaria. Is it okay to kill mosquitoes carrying malaria? Now, obviously, my answer to that is yes. It's ridiculous to run the risk of getting malaria. Of course, we should massacre those mosquitoes. But it's just funny that you go to some moral gray area, sort of uncertain topic, instead of interacting with the core of the argument for veganism, right? Which I think we'd want to start at something like stabbing a cow in the throat to make them into a hamburger. So, this is just typical. You get a lot of people who are, really smart, like high-level academics who just totally fail when veganism comes up. They're just going to make low-level arguments like, oh, what about killing, like, mosquitoes with malaria, though? Okay, how about interacting with the question of stabbing cows in the throats, in their throat for hamburgers?
Well, question. Okay, that's part of the answer. You can, for sure, animals should have rights, but none of us believe that including Peter Singer, that animals should have the rights of human beings.
Right. None of us believe it. Singer hasn't said it. The questioner hasn't said it. Why is it even coming up?
And there's good reasons for that.
No
rights
shit.
don't exist in a vacuum if you're talking about moral philosophy. The rights are associated with responsibilities.
I'm so tired of that stupid meme, okay? Yeah. Rights derive from having responsibilities. Okay, so how about the mentally disabled people, severely disabled, right, who can't reciprocate any responsibilities. Okay, you can't give them responsibilities. In fact, they are just someone else's responsibility. Someone else takes care of them. Do they still have rights? I think you would say yes, presumably. So that just destroys that whole argument. It's not the case that something necessarily doesn't have rights if it doesn't have responsibilities.
We don't attribute any responsibilities at all to other animals, do we? I mean, we don't say that
Do we attribute any responsibilities at all to a severely disabled person who's cared for by another human or team of humans?
Lion has to be sent to the gas chamber if it kills a gazelle, let's say.
Right, entering the territory of the animals killing other animals memes. But yeah, obviously, animals aren't moral agents. We're not going to punish them for, wrongdoing that they're not capable of understanding. Right? Like, I mean, if a lion, like, bites a kid or something, like, who knows, right? It's like the lion does not comprehend morality. You can't be holding the lion to the same moral standard as the human. I mean, it's just, why does this even need to be said? It's so obvious.
No, they don't have responsibilities. And that, of course, if in moral philosophy, now just abstract discussion, relates to the question of what their rights are. And they should have rights. So, for example, it's a step forward in our general kind of moral development that animals are not subjected to torture in the way they were just a few years ago.
Well, not subjected to torture in the same way as they were a few years ago. So which is to say they're still subjected to very much torture. We've just done a little something about it.
So in Britain and the United States, there are now constraints on the torture, what we call experiment torture of at least animals that are closer to us, like primates, than there were 30 or 40 years ago. So yes, we're developing some sort of conception of rights, but I don't think anyone thinks that animals have the rights and responsibilities of human beings.
So why does it even need to be said? I mean, his whole question was if Singer's right, and if you understand that that's not Singer's point, then what's the relevance of saying, well, a point that Singer didn't make isn't right? I mean, some excellent thinking here by Chomsky.
Okay, then we can enter into the details. What was the second question?
What was the second question?
Okay, so that's the rest is about IQ or something. So, okay, just recapping that, we're just dealing with standard low-level arguments, like level 0 Carnist arguments that you'd see in the Discord from a high-level intellectual, right? We're getting like rights derived from responsibilities, though. What about killing mosquitoes with malaria, though? Oh, animals eating other animals, though. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's all really low level, and I hope that in time our public intellectuals start doing better. So, yeah, guys, make your way over to the Discord. It really is just an awesome place. You know, you'll find all sorts of great debates in there, good conversations. Go learn propositional logic from the bot. And that's all for today. So, till next time.